Hey, Adam. I mean,
Hey.
last week, just at the end, after we finished the episode, actually got contacted by somebody that was sort of new to the game. They were playing maybe a month or two. And yeah, I got
All
to
right.
talk to them over the last week, and they were talking about like they mentioned to me like how do you guys make money? How do you guys support yourself? Like, we want to make money in the game. We want to make silvers. They've heard all about it. How do you make money? And then I realized I have no idea. It's like, how do I make money? Okay, if I was going to tell them how I make money, I'd be like, well, first I go and ask my brother, I need some money. And then he's like, all right, I need some money. And that's how I make money. But I didn't think that I should tell them that. And I thought, hey, perfect subject. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how do you make money in the game? Let's find out after this. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Factional Fight Plays Wurm Online. My name's Brian. That's my brother Adam. And you are staring at the Labyrinth. This is actually at the end of the Labyrinth. So imagine you just finished the Labyrinth. And you run through, and here it is. You see a castle. Can't you just envision that castle, Adam?
Yeah. No. No, I can't.
With no imagination. Imagine there's like a vast castle, and all you're trying to do is get to the end there. No?
Well, I think that's the plan. Yeah, well,
I, I guess that's why you're the moneymaker, and I am the envisionist of this labyrinth. And you buy me all my bricks, so thank you very much. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how do you make money in this game. I don't know. I guess you have some ideas, don't you? And here's some ideas.
I have a couple ideas.
What do you guys think in the chat here? Hello, everyone joining us. Buy it in the shop so Rolf can have a drink or two.
Yeah.
That's actually a smart idea. We should buy it from the shop if you can. But if you're just looking
Yeah.
to make money in the game, a few disclosures. We're only going to talk about how to make money when you're a premium. You're only going to talk about how to make what other disclaimers do you want to say?
Well, yeah, well, I'll talk about that for a second. We don't really want to
quickly.
be talking about making money just because it
As a
sucks.
free player?
Like, as a
Yeah.
free player, it sucks. Your skills are capped. You don't have the ability to drive the big boats.
Not that
Uh,
you can't. You can. I've had friends that do that.
oh yeah,
But
I've seen people try. I haven't seen them last. And they caught in that, like, I'm going to make money in this first month, and then I'm going to make enough money to pay for premium, and then I'm going to try to keep that up, and that propels to them quitting usually.
yeah, so
Anyway, that's my feeling.
anyway, before we talk anything about that,
Yeah,
let's
well,
actually do some work on the labyrinth. We're doing work on the labyrinth every single week, and go join our videos, and you can see exactly what we're doing. We are at the part where we want to build the second half of the labyrinth, which includes the puzzle city, and then the castle will be on the gates. But first, we have to level the area out,
Hmm.
and I want to make a sort of big castle that's going to consist of two. It's going to consist of two levels. Oh, and by the way, when we talk about how to
Largest.
make money in
Yeah.
the game, we don't actually mean how to make real money. We're talking more like
Right.
the
No.
in-game economy money, how to make
Right.
that
Right.
money
Right.
so that you can then go and buy more stuff in the game. I don't know. How does it work in other games? That's what we're talking about. How does making money work in, you know, World of
Yeah.
Warcraft or those type of games? Not to actually don't quit your job
Totally
after
different from
watching this
here,
video.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just don't.
That's right.
No matter what you do
Okay.
in
So what are
this
we working
game.
on here?
Yeah, sorry. So we're going to make a nice platform for the castle. Look at that. And I was thinking we could
I noticed
raise.
that you set up like a you set up this like little flat area here.
Yeah,
Is this
notice.
sort of where we're going
Okay,
to be
two things
raising
that
it
I
to?
noticed when I started this. One is that one side of the labyrinth is quite a bit further sloped down than the other side. By I thought it wasn't that much,
Yeah.
but it's over 100 slope, maybe more. That's a lot.
Yeah. This whole area slopes that way
Notice
quite a
how
bit. And if you
much.
look at
Yeah.
the front of the labyrinth, like just that front wall, the left side to the right side, it's just like a huge difference. This
Yeah,
whole
you
area
can
is
see
just
this up
sloping
here.
downwards. At first, when
So
we first got here, we're like, yeah, this is not. When we start like
it's fairly
chopping it,
flat.
it is relatively flat, fairly flat.
Yeah,
But from one
not
side to
quite.
the other, it's probably over 100 slope difference. Yeah.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do, and you notice on this side, it's like just sort of flat, and then as you go this side, it's just a big dip down, and then you sort of see how far
Okay,
it
so
goes.
how are we gonna fix that? What are we gonna be doing here?
We're gonna use this level as a template at the moment, as the default, and we're just gonna raise everything else around it for a little platform for the
Yeah.
castle. Make sense?
We're gonna just be leveling all this, or we're gonna drop some dirt, or what?
Yeah.
What's the strategy here?
Drop some dirt, then do some leveling. We'll see how
Alright,
far
so
it
a
goes.
little bit of
Like,
both.
what are we at here? We're at 35 slope. That's enough to drop dirt. But okay, so let's get going on that.
Okay.
And
Yep.
how did the Impelon go? I was unfortunately not able to make it. Did you hear anything, Adam?
Yes. I knew somebody who went who said there was quite a few people there
That's
and
awesome.
that it was fun. They didn't get any details really, but
Yeah, I wish I was not so sick in that for a while, and I missed a whole bunch of
yeah,
school, and all I've been doing is schoolwork all week.
yeah,
And
and
the
you're
next
catching up
month
on
I
that.
will be catching up on schoolwork even more. So, unfortunately, this is the time that I have to play
Yep.
because I'm forced to with this video. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, let's talk about it. How does the worm economy work?
Okay, so I think in general we should start by talking about where it'll come from and how it all works, because like to understand how to make money in this game, we got to understand the flow of money in this game, and you got to become sort of a part of that flow. So to start off, you have to understand the basic concept that every single silver, every coin in this game comes from being purchased from the shop. So somebody has to have gone to the Wurm shop, paid some real life money to Rolf, and to get that silver.
Okay.
I don't think there's any other way that money enters the game. Now, to counter that, there are several sinks. So money sinks are places where the money exits the game, and that there's only a few of those. The first one being deeds, like planting a deed, and paying for deed upkeep, paying for premium through the silvers, buying something off of a trader. And if anybody can think of anything else, just say so in chat, because like if there's any other way that money can exit the game. There might be. I just can't. Pretty sure that's most of the ways. So between the time that the money comes in and the money goes out, money circulates and possibly gets hoarded or whatever. And if you're interested in getting in on that flow of money, you sort of have to understand how that money flows from buying it from the shop and it leaving. So somebody mentioned
selling to a token. Isn't that money coming back into the game?
Into the game? Yeah, that actually is not money coming back into the. That's not money entering the game. That money that comes into the token, and we'll talk about this later, actually had been previously purchased from the shop, had entered one of the sinks, and then gone through what redistribution system, which is selling to a token, or the rare coin system that comes from botanizing, foraging, and traders. But all of that money had originally entered from the shop. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail later. Essentially, once the money comes in, people use that to buy and sell things, or buy other people, and the money flows from person to person until eventually it hits a sink. And if you want to make money in this game, you have to be on that chain of events that happens. The main idea, the basic idea of making money in this game is to end things or make things that other people are willing to spend their money on.
Okay.
Sounds very simple.
Yeah.
Basic.
What kind of items is that? That's my next question.
Exactly. What kind of items is that? It seems so simple, but at the same time, you have to put yourself in the mind of the person who has the money, who wants to buy something. The thing about this game that's different from every other game is that money is tied to real currency. So it's very much more difficult to convince somebody to part with their money in this game. And so you better be offering something that they absolutely or need, or can't live without. So there's a few things. I don't know, like
what?
We went on and on and on about this, and I know that we have a lot of stuff that we want to talk about, but is there something that you want to jump in here on?
I'm just mainly curious about what you've been talking about.
Okay. So there's the obvious ones. I can start with the obvious ones. Yeah. And these ones are the ones that people see right away and feel very proud. The first thing that people think of when they think about making money is, I got to get my skills up all the way up to compete with all the veterans, because I'm never going to, this game, I hear that argument all the time, there's no way that we can ever compete with the veterans because they've been in there so long. And that is somewhat true, but probably not as true as you might think. Because
what do you mean?
Skills really, it doesn't take that long to get skills. I think we discussed skills don't take all that long to get up. You just have to sort of work on it. The first thing is that you're not going to make any money in this game unless you actually enjoy playing the game. That's the first thing. You have to enjoy playing this game, and just the way that it's intended to be played. Get those skills up just by building your deed and making the things that you need to make. Set goals for yourself. Just keep going like that, because as you play the game, you'll notice a lot of the skills going up naturally. But trade skills, getting your trade skill like blacksmithing, carpentry, fine carpentry, etc., getting those up is really this. But if you do eventually get it up, the strategy for making money there is get a merchant, place it at a a local market that is bustling, and place your wares on there. And it's like a long-term process. It's not like you're going to be selling things like hotcakes, but over time you'll notice your merchant making.
What's an example? Like, this is what happened to your trader?
Well, I mean, at first, okay, so when I had low skills, it was I put a merchant we had it on Delhi at Puzzle Market, Puzzle Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 50 skill or something, so I put my 50 tools, and it was a little bit different back then, but I put my 50 quality tools for like 20 copper each, and they'd sell every so often. It wouldn't be every day, but it might be once a week, and comes around and picks up like 5 tools.
Mm-hmm.
As the skill goes up, as the quality goes up, people, the higher quality tools are in more demand. Nowadays, it's kind of a little bit more difficult because you sort of need 80-ish, 90-ish to sort of sell. I've seen people try to sell 70, and they might sell, but they're for cheaper, maybe 10 copper each. But I would suggest that if you're going to go this route, like you want to go the long term, your trade skills up, is to diversify, get lots of different things going on. Like, for example, if you do find carpentry, you also have carpentry. You focus on some fast skills, like some of the armor smithing skills are pretty quick to get up. Blacksmithing, of course, is a staple, that sort of thing. But again, like a long-term sort of way of making money. Another really long-term way of making money, and another obvious one that people see a lot of, is priest enchanting. I'm starting with these two because
I always hear that that's like a really good way of making money.
Yeah, these ones everybody knows. These are the ways, but also these are the ways that people feel discouraged by. They see these priests casting crazy casts, and then they get discouraged because their priest is, a baby, like years before it gets up. So I think for the rest of this episode, I want to talk about ways that people can make money through, without spending all that time. And of course, while you're waiting, while you're playing the game, while you're getting your skills up, while you're working towards that end goal of a master smith or whatever it is, you can make money through other means. So
okay.
this is it, I guess. So I'm going to start with, I guess I'll start with the redistribution system, because since it was this is a system in place by, I'm not sure why they put it in place, but I guess it's to spur the economy, where under the sink, a percentage of it comes back to the player base. And it used to be that the only way that money would come back was through traders, and traders were, locked up in these houses and owned by these veteran players, and they would milk these traders for all the money. There was actually quite a bit of money coming back, until Xanadu came out, and Xanadu had no trader system, and a new redistribution announced, but it wasn't implemented. And eventually at some point or another, they added the foraging, botanizing, and how to get rare coins, or I think they added the selling to the token as well, or a little bit earlier than that. Now I'm going to talk about the forage and botanize, because I think this is a really important way for new players to make money, and it's because you're going to be doing this at the beginning anyway. And I highly encourage you to work on your foraging and botanizing skills for many reasons as a new player. Number one, you'll be looking for materials, and as well cotton. These two things are a lifesaver for you as a new player. You want lots of this stuff, and eventually you'll want to farm that cotton, but at first it's just a matter of spending time to forage and botanize for it. And all the while you'll be getting a chance to get those, which is a real motivator for doing this. There's
Okay.
other reasons why you want to forage and botanize. Looking for crops that you'll potentially be planting. You want to be looking for food, like pumpkins are great food sources, and good for low farming skill. Also, if you're interested in dye making, botanizing is a skill that you're going to need to get really high, and that's
Why?
because blue dye is made from woad, which you can only get from botanizing, and black dye is made from also botanizing. So getting these two getting botanizing really high gives you a better chance of getting high quality woad, which in turn makes high quality. So if one of your long-term goals is to be able to dye things or make your own dye, then this is just another motivator to spend time. Now, if you
Okay.
find botanizing foraging boring and you can't stand it, then
That's me. Yeah. So what should I do?
maybe like that. I don't know. That to me is like one of the first maybe this game isn't right for you. I don't know. Maybe you can find your way in this game with, but foraging and botanizing is just like a basics act that you're sort of going to be doing the same thing for the rest of this game, like where you're just going to be clicking and activating and waiting for bars to go up, and that's pretty much the game. So this is a good indicator that maybe you're not having fun doing this. But if you are having fun doing this, gathering resource, stockpiling stuff, then this is just a perfect way to make money.
All right. So you make money just by foraging and botanizing?
Yeah, randomly you'll get a chance at getting, a rare coin. It could be anywhere between five. I think actually 1 copper. You can get 1 copper, but 5 coppers, 20 coppers, or 1 silver even drops.
It's pretty awesome.
Now,
Well,
another thing that you're going to be doing as
but
a new player.
I don't really want to
Sorry.
do that sort of thing. Like,
Okay. If that's not your cup of tea, then another thing that you can do is spend time grinding your fight skill. Now, this might take a little bit of investment, at least a little bit of time investment, and
right,
fighting
so this
is a
for all
really
the
challenging
fighters
thing to get
in the-
into.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all the fighters, and granted, the Wurm fighting system has desired, but it can be extremely rewarding, specifically because you're gathering a lot of materials. So if you're gonna go this route, and you highly recommend that you either spend some time making a good set of armor for yourself. So, get your armor smithing up, either chaining or whatever armor smithing you want, and make a decent set of armor for yourself. Like 50 quality is probably what you should be aiming for. 40 or 50 quality, like at least. Any less, and those monsters will chew you up. If you have forged and botanized and gotten a few silvers from that, it might be worth it to invest in a weapon that has life transfer on it. Even if it's not that high of a cast, it could be like a 50 or 60
I'm trying
cast.
to make money, and you're suggesting I spend money?
Right. It makes things a lot easier. Let's just put it that way.
It's like an investment,
and
you're
that
saying.
It is an investment. Exactly. It's an
In
investment.
money.
Even a low
Spend
quality
money to
life
make
transfer, it's gonna pay off in the long run. It'll make things go a lot faster because life transfer, every time you attack and every time you hit, it heals you. So it pretty much you up. And as you get better, and if your armor is good enough, you can use those wildcats to get rid of your bad wounds instead of using a healing cover or a piece of cotton or whatever. Highly recommend using
Hey, I
a
mean,
life
if you
transfer weapon.
like foraging and botanizing and doing that sort of thing, if you want to become a farmer or something, you would do that. if you wanted to become a fighter, then you would, fight. And you're saying both ways you could make some money.
Right, because the fighting, every time you kill
But
something, you have that same chance at that rare coin that you do with botanizing.
I see.
Part of the
Well, how about
redistribution system.
how about the way that, I don't know, seems to be really popular in this game, or at least used to be. I always said that you could go and buy a trader. Everyone saying just buy a trader. Everyone got fed up and mad about the traders because of
Right.
all these veteran players making money. What would you say about traders? Isn't that a viable way to make money?
You know, it used to be. It used to be a viable way of making money. Make the same kind of money that they used to, first of all. So their monthly output is extremely low. And the amount money that it takes to invest in a trader, like one of the ways to get a trader is to buy one from another trader, and it costs 50 silver. You get some of that money back, so effectively I think it costs 37.5 silver, but that's still a decent investment. And you have to plant, and chances are you're going to be planting it on a deed that you have to upkeep. And I hear that they're really not getting that much money. My trader is not really, they're like in the realm of like 2 silver a month or something like that.
So you invest 50 silver and then you get 2 silver a month back. How many
Right.
months would you have to get
Exactly.
play just to break
Yeah.
even?
Yeah, a lot. Too many that it makes no sense. So unless you inherit a trader or you buy one on a deed that's cheap, I've seen trader deeds sell for like 15 silver.
Wow.
Maybe that's worth it, right? Because you get the deed already planted, so you don't have to invest money there. You only have to pay the upkeep, which might be as low as 1 silver, hopefully, and the trader might be making, or sorry, 2 silver, possibly more. I'm not sure exactly how much you can get out of traders now. There might be some secret way of getting more money. I don't know. 2 silver seems to be the consensus.
So I would not recommend that. If your
Yeah.
goal is to make money, traders are not the way to go, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like the best way right now to tap into that redistribution is foraging and botanizing. It's the fastest. You'll get the most money. Like even the hunting takes a little bit of time,
How
because
about the whole system of
you
selling
know-
to a token?
right, the selling to the token is a system I never really liked to begin with, because you get such a tiny amount of money. It's like so little. Like each cell might give you 5 iron, and 100 iron makes 1 copper.
There's iron in this game now? No, wait.
Yeah, well, iron's is the lowest coin denomination. So let's say you sacrifice a 50 quality item. I think you get
Can't we
6
just
iron.
mine our own iron?
How many? And I think that it's capped at 5 copper. No. Iron. No, it's not the same. It's like you can mine gold, but you can't make out of it.
Oh. I say that would be the easiest way. You want to make some gold?
Oh.
You go find a gold vein.
Although that's what we thought at first. Remember, we found that first gold vein.
A long time ago, yeah.
Awesome!
We found like a silver ore on the ground. And we're like, oh my god, it's a silver ore. We picked it up and we're like, as a new player, it made us go overweight. And we're like running, we're like, go before somebody catches us. We stole their silver ore.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the
Yeah.
days. Anyway, so
And I
what were you
still
saying?
see new players in Freedom Chat, like always like, so is a gold vein any good, or is gold vein worth anything, or that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's not really. Iron is probably more valuable than gold. This game.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, selling to a token, I've always like so yeah, somebody is 11 iron is typical for most corpses, and that's because the corpse is worth is 100 quality. So if you can muster up 100 quality items, then you can sell them at the token, and I think the cap is 5 copper per hour. So yeah, per hour.
Come on, you got.
Now,
I sold the corpse for the
like how
token
many
2 days ago, and
how
it
many
gave a rare
corpses
roll.
would it?
Huh? 20 copper.
Right, that's true. Actually, I've heard that selling to the token also gives you a chance at a rare roll. So there is something to be said about that. I would recommend corpses would not be the optimal thing to sell to a token. Okay, so for 2 reasons. Number one, how many corpses would it take to get that 5 copper at 11? It would take about 50 corpses.
50
Wait,
corpses.
is that right? 11, 10, yeah, 50 corpses or something like that. Like maybe 40, whatever. So how long would it take you to get 48 corpses?
If you're the fighter, huh?
You're the fighter. You go out, you travel out. You go. Your goal is to get 50 corpses in this hour. How long will it take you? Can you do it in 1 hour?
Maybe.
Probably not. I would argue maybe it would be very close, and maybe not. But let's say you have.
Could it be a boost from the money that you're already making from fighting, and you get a rare chance of killing a mob and stuff?
Could be. I mean,
extra 5 copper.
There is the deposit. Like if you live in southern Xanadu, for example, you might say it would be ridiculous to imagine going out and getting 50 corpses in one play session, let's say. But on the other hand, let's say you had, 2 kilograms of wemp and a rope, and you just ground out like a bunch of bowstrings, just a ton of bowstrings. You're grinding rope making skill.
Sure.
It wouldn't take all that long to get 50, or you might need double that now that you're making bowstrings and the average quality is less, or maybe even triple that. But still, shouldn't take you all that long. You're getting nice rope mill, and you sacrifice those, and each time you sacrifice, you get a rare chance. Because they're worth less, you're gonna get more of those actions per hour, increasing your chance rare roll on a sell to token action. So I don't know. That's just me. That's a strategy. If you're into that sort of thing, it would be a very grindy way to do it. But it would your chances at getting a rare coin roll, because you might have to do 150 to get to the 5 copper cap in that hour. And if you do that every hour, you might just I don't know. My feeling is that there's ways better than corpses to increase the number of chances you have for the rare roll on the coin. Doesn't make sense.
Right. I think we gone.
On the other hand,
pretty much far enough here on this side.
What's that?
I think we've gone almost far enough on this side. What do you think?
Okay. You don't want to go right to the end?
No, not right to the end.
Okay, not right to the end. Okay. So on the other hand, there is a chance that the coffers, the king's are empty, which means that the redistribution, or the coins where the redistribution coming from empty, which can happen at times. So you sort of have to be patient with that.
Wow. All right, so seems like what you've listed so far is If you're a trade skill person, you do the old-fashioned way and you level up a trade skill to sell items.
Mhm. I feel like everybody should be doing that as well. Like while you're doing this, you should also be working on your trade skills as a goal. Here's a question in the chat. What about mining as a new player? Is finding and selling gems a viable source of income?
Gems. There's an idea.
Gems.
What do you think? Gems used to be a very lucrative market. What happened?
Absolutely. It's still a decent market, but it's not as much as it was before. And the reason is people use gems to skill channeling on their priests. And they do that because the vessel, which you cast on a gem and it fills it with some favor, and that spell gives pretty good channeling skill compared to most others. Now, the thing that people started realizing is that gems cost a lot of money, and therefore channeling takes a lot of money to skill up. But if instead of buying a whole bunch of gems and using them to channel grind, they found out that it was a little bit more, it made a lot more sense to just cast WOA or COC over and over. The reason why it's better is because, first of all, you're not sinking all that money into gems, and secondly, you're making money off of a COC casts, even if they're not that great. You could even give them away and make a name for yourself and just be better off spending the 100 silver on gems, which people used to do like crazy amounts of money. Now people still use gems to channel grind. Like nobody does.
You're saying just less people.
Less people, and because of that, the market just sort of crashed a little bit, and the price of gems went down. It used to be you could get 2 copper per quality, which is a lot. Because you have 1,000 gems, that would be like, 1,000 quality in gems, that would be like 20 silver. But now it's more like 1 copper if you're lucky, and you'd be hard pressed to find a buyer. But if you're a new player and you're mining and you get gems just because you're making, you have that big mining project, you get gems, they still hold some value. So I would in them, stockpiling them, and wait until you have enough quality to sell them. You'll probably be better off trying to find somebody that like a friend or a neighbor starting out a new priest, maybe selling to them, and don't expect too much. I think that you'd have a better time bartering with those gems than selling them for silver, but I don't know. I've seen people sell gems.
But basically the market just sort of crashed. It used to be really lucrative, and it just
used to be. Yeah.
Went down. That sucks. They should make more uses for gems, like you should be able to imbue other things in them, like power.
Like I'll put it this way, with gems having other uses would be awesome.
I want to put a gem on my
interesting
hat.
Suggestions. Yeah.
I want a gem encrusted cap. Let's make that happen.
I think I used them to get my channeling up to about 85. And then from there, I just cast WOA or COC or one of those types of spells. And now my channeling's above 93. So it goes slower for sure, but all the while you're making these casts, so trade-off.
Yeah, I guess so.
See, like this chat room is the chat is predicting my next move every time.
All right, so I mean, let's say I don't want to do any of that. I don't
Okay.
want to fight. I
You
don't
don't want
want
to
to
botanize.
do foraging or botanizing. Trade skills seems like something that I'll never be able to do. What could I
Okay.
do?
Okay. So one thing that a lot of people I see doing and suggesting to new players, especially, but there's also a lot of people doing this, is getting into the bulk goods market, which is a good
Oh,
place
that's a
for a
common thing,
relative
right?
start.
We did that.
Common thing, like bricks and mortar. Bricks and mortar. We did that for sure. We did that. I think everybody
Make
at
your
some point or
bricks.
another will do that. Bricks and mortar. Um, so one major, and this ties into one major concept. If you're interested in making money in this game, the concept is time money, because
Sorry?
people do time is money
Okay, time
is
is
the
money.
concept, right? And the reason is because in this game things take forever to do. You know, you need 1,000 bricks to make that house that you want to make. Well, that's going to
Yes.
take you, and it depends on your skill. It could potentially take you hours upon hours if your skill is really low and your tools are really crappy, and want to spend that time making those bricks, but rather would just want to buy those bricks from somebody else so that you can get to the stuff that you actually like, which is building the house. So if you think about that perspective, there's plenty of people in this game who have silver because they bought it from the shop. You know, they have a job, so they spent their money, bought some silver, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to use that silver to save themselves time in this game. And the time that they're going to save is they don't want to make those tanks, shafts, nails, bricks, mortar, whatever else it is, crates, rafts, etc., etc. These things are
Support
things that
beams.
relative support beams. Support beams is a big one. Um, New players can get into that stuff pretty easily, but at the same time, there are some sort of challenges associated with getting into this. One of the big problems
Well, well, well,
is
what challenges?
sorry.
When we started the game and we got into it a bit, few months in maybe, we got a contract, and by we I mean you got a contract
Right.
that
Yeah.
allowed us to make rafts for somebody.
Right.
We made,
Right.
what was it, like 100 rafts as in new players. That took a long time, but there was a bunch of us going, and we were like determined to make all these rafts for some guy that didn't want to make it
Mm-hmm.
himself. He had a Corbita or something, and he wanted to fill it up.
He had just
And
yeah.
we made a
This
lot
guy
of
had
money.
money. I'm not sure where the money came from. He had money, and he had just bought a brand new boat. And at the time, large crates didn't exist. I think that this this sort of story isn't as relevant as it could be, but it still goes to show like what you can do to game. And the idea is keep a lookout. You have to be reading the Freedom Chat and the GL Freedom Chat, and just find that person who's just in need of something in that very moment. You know, that person just bought a brand new boat in this story, and his mind was like, okay, I need to fill that boat with 100 rafts. I do not want to make 100 rafts. So the Freedom Chat. Anybody, can anybody make 100 rafts for me? Like, I'm interested. I'm paying well. Right away, I responded. Because I'm like on the lookout for these sorts of things, and just chatted with him. Got to know him actually decently, and
Hmm.
you know, like we negotiated a price. We said we can get it done. You know, I told him that we were new players, like we were pretty new, just starting out our first D, and you know, I said, well, we could probably do it, and it took us like I don't know how many days, maybe 3 or 4 days,
Yeah, something like that.
but we got it all done, and he paid us very well, like probably slightly more than the market was for 100 rafts time. But
He
you
must
know,
have really
it's
wanted
kind of
them.
it's yeah, he really wanted them, and it wasn't all that much more, but it was still like it was a lot of money for us because we were just starting out, and I think it was over 10 silver, or like it might have even been 14 silver or something. Good
Yep.
amount.
Yep.
Back then, rafts were the only thing that fit into boats that were worthwhile putting in there, and so people wanted 100 rafts. But if you're going to be a
Not
bulk
anymore.
trader, you want to be a bulk trader,
Uh huh.
it's you the best way to go about it, get the sales first. You know, like maybe you can have some stock, but having stock isn't always the best because you might not sell it, and then you might get somebody who wants something that you don't have, and all your stock is going to rot. um, you have to be an active salesperson. You have to be looking for that person who's interested in buying. um, be on the lookout for people who have just bought a brand new deed on the forums, you know, and chances are that person's ready to start a big project, and maybe that person has the money to bypass all the making of bricks and that.
I mean, one thing's for certain is that, and there was some debates going on the forums about whether there's enough money in the game or not, or people like quitting or whatever the debate was. I don't know. But the thing is that
Yeah, and we
you can
mentioned this
actually
earlier.
go and you can check. There's like these graphs that you can check that show how much money was in the game, how much money's in the game every single month.
Right,
Do they break it down
right.
per week? I don't know if it's per month. I don't know.
Yeah, you can look at
And
different graphs
yeah, you
differently.
went and you saw one of the graphs, and the fact is that the graph is saying how much money is in the game, and there was no amount of money lost in the game. There was the same amount of
Right.
money in the
At the
game as
moment,
there was.
no, at the moment,
You're checking
and
it,
we
aren't
and
you?
I think we looked at this graph. I didn't. I'm not checking right now because I've seen it. At the moment, it seems like there's more money in the game. At least for on Xanadu, I know. I was looking at the Xanadu graph. There's more money in the game right now than there ever has been. That means, and as I said before, money can only come in through the shop. So that means this the economy is better than it ever was. There's more
Yeah,
money
and
flowing through.
the way it is that money enters from the shop and exits through all the things that you listed at the beginning of the episode. Deeds. Once it leaves the game through deeds, upkeep, or purchasing deeds, or the 10 silver, you know, subscription charge a month for premium, and then the money just dissipates that way. But the thing is that there's more money in the game now, which means people are still buying from the shop, which is a good thing, I would think, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
And I
the
think that
only
that
way
needs to
that the
happen.
economy works.
Right. The only way that we can keep this game afloat really is if money gets put into the game, like real money gets put in the game. And I would to everybody that if you have the money, like you know, you well, many people budget a certain amount of money go into video games, you know, in their monthly, you know, per month. And if
You
you
do
have
this
that money, that
budgeting
you
thing?
should invest that money into this game. Budget that
The
without
Adam is a
input of money
responsible
into the
person.
game, then the game is not going to continue, right? And then
Right.
the economy will crash. Not, you know, that graph that's showing that money's inputted into the game is just going to start plummeting, which isn't good. That would be a bad sign if that graph was going down.
So the game's not ending like some people would
No, right
like to think.
now the game's to be better than it ever was, um, in terms of the economy. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now back to the bulk goods stuff, because I think there's quite a bit more strategy to it. Um, if you're a
Strategy.
brand
Okay.
new player, I would I would recommend not getting into the bulk goods right away, because there's quite a bit of setup. Like you look at these guys who are cranking out thousands and thousands of bricks a day, and mortar, and just whatever. They'll take an order of 5,000 bricks and mortar, and they'll like deliver it by the weekend.
Uh huh.
The reason why they're able to do this, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, the skills. So they've spent time grinding the skills, which is important. Number two, they've invested money in tools, high quality tools that have high casts on them, or they make them, or they made them themselves. Number three, they will have a very organized setup on their deed. Tons of these resource gathering setup that just it's a nice assembly line flow. So you got to be thinking, and maybe at first you'll start small. You'll start with like a, but what you want to do is make sure that you're by the shore, that you have your BSB set up, that you have a workflow, that there's by your deed, there's sand, or that you created a nice sand pit that you can continue refilling. All sorts of things you're going to want that you have a nice setup. You don't just want to be making bricks without a nice setup, because it's just going to take that much long bricks.
So do you believe, let's say, the do you believe the argument that here that's saying in the chat here that 5%, the 5%, top 5% of the player base is hoarding all the money and then selling it for real cash?
Can't you know
Or is that coming out of nowhere?
not
Where
gonna
is this?
I'm not gonna say that there isn't a little bit of that happening. I'm sure, because I don't know anybody specifically. I couldn't name a person who does that sort of thing, but I can't say that it's not happening for sure. So what is being said in here is that, let's say you're super rich, you have tons of silver, and you got it through in-game means. Then you sell it to somebody for real money, and then through in-game means you again get that money back. Now, to respond to that, since the start of me playing, I have made, like, part of my enjoyment of this game is making silvers. Like, it's just part of the game for me. I like scanning the auctions and want to sell threads and the want to buy threads, and scanning the freedom chats just to see if I can make an extra silver here or there. And I've made a priest, a Venora priest, that some people say have classified it as godly, although I'd still say it's annoyingly frustrating. I personally can't see making a living off of Wurm or anything like that. Like, there's no way that you're going to make an income from this game that is anywhere close to an amount of money that you could live off of, even if you played the game 24/7. Like, there's just not that.
I've never heard of anybody that does that. I think people have tried, and it
Yes,
doesn't work.
doesn't work. Doesn't work. You get burnt out, and you just can't keep it up. I mean, there's a lot against the idea of selling silver, right? Like, selling silver for real life money, and I think that they feel it's somehow taking away from the profits of the game. But I would argue it's doing the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, besides some very rare exceptions, the
Hmm.
perception, and I've always found that the perception of this game is you always are looking from the outside. Let's say you're reading the forums and you're seeing some guy's names, and he's always like, that guy is selling,
Is making
rares all the
a
time,
ton of
or that
money.
guy is
Yeah.
selling and he's making money all the time. He's like, keeps making posts, and
Right.
why
Right.
can't I do that? Like, what is he doing that I'm not doing? And
Right.
you know what it is? It's the fact that somebody, whoever it is, has found something that they love about this game. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. Anything.
That's it.
I love mining in this game. And then they take that and they
Right.
find out what they could do to make money off of what they love about the game. And that's why you keep seeing
Right.
them selling stuff, because they're always doing it. And these are the players that are playing all the time. And by all the time, I mean,
Hmm.
like, I don't know, 10, 12 hours a day,
12 hours a
which is a
day.
long
Yeah,
time.
that's.
Uh, so why
Mhm.
are they doing it? Because they're always here, they're always playing, they're always doing something, and because they love to do it. And if you love to
Mhm.
do something, you will continue to do it. And part of the reward is that you can play in the economy if you like.
Right.
And that it's just all ends up being the perception. Now, are they making enough money? They're probably making enough money to have a nice in-game life. They're not making enough money to live in the real world.
The real world. Yeah. They're
But
not.
that's the difference between
Yeah.
people that play a
I
lot and people that don't play a lot.
I agree with you that
It's
it's a
the same in
perception. It's
every
the
game.
perception that like you see somebody who has this massive tons of rare items, or not rare items. I'll get to rares in a second, but enchanted items, like tons and tons of enchanted items. And if you tallied up all of the price of their wares, you like, wow, that's like 800 silver worth of stuff. But the reality is that they're not selling 800 stuff. In fact, a lot of that stuff is going to stay on that board indefinitely, and they might sell only a small percentage of that each month. So they're not really going to be and it gives that perception that this person is like super rich in the game and they have maybe, but part of this game is that there's this silver out there, and the idea that you can access some of it, spent the time and you fell in love with something that allowed you to get access to that money. Like you look at those charts and you're saying, well, there's that much money economy, there's that much money in people's banks, there's that much money in people's and all you need to do is find that thing that will get that money into your bank. And there's a lot of ways to do it. You just got to keep your eye open for it, and you got to be innovative. This game changes a lot. There's a lot of things that change about the game that cause values to fluctuate, and you have to be sort of on top of that. The people who have all the money, they put in a ton of work and a ton of effort and thought, and were smart about it, and it took a long time to get to that point. It didn't happen overnight. And I think that instead of getting upset that other person has all that money, all you look at ways that you can get that money, because you can. It just takes time and effort.
All right, so what are some let's list some more ways. What are a couple other ways that you can think of that you could play this game and make some money, some silvers?
One way that I think people may have fun with, it's a little bit more risky, but there's a good reward, risk versus reward sort of business, and that is buying and reselling for profit.
I used to do that all the time in EverQuest.
Yeah.
When we used to go to that one zone. God, I never remember the zones anymore. you remember the name of the zone?
Yeah.
The zone with like all everyone came to,
Kelethin.
and Kelethin. That's not the name
Kelethin.
of the zone, but that's the name of the city. We used to all go to
Okay.
Kelethin and buy and sell. I used to buy items all the time and then sell them later. So you're saying you can do that in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot harder, I'd say, to do. But there are quite a few people who do it, and I see it happening all the time. Now, the one getting into this business is that you need money to invest, and
So what
there's a
sort
risk.
of items? Can you list like one? Like what
One
would you
item,
buy to resell? Is it anything?
right?
Like what kind of stuff are you thinking
Okay,
of
so
that you see?
other okay. Before I get to the specific items, because really it's a hard topic to talk about specific items that you can do this for. You have to know the value of everything. Not everything, but lots of things. You need to know the value of items.
There it
Like,
is.
you need to be able to
Greater
look at an item.
Feydark was the name of.
Yeah,
that's the name of the.
That's right. Yeah, Feydark. So you have to know the value of things and be able to look at a sale and say, somebody will buy that for more. Like, that person's selling it for
Yeah.
less than
You'd have
it
to
could be
know
bought
the
for.
value of items.
Yeah. And at a certain point or another, you get to the point where you look at an item and you say, I could sell that for this much money, and you know for sure that you can sell it. Like, here's where the risk comes in. Buy it and you can feel, yeah, I could sell that for 7 silver. And then it turns out nobody's buying it for 7 silver. And the market fluctuates so much. Like, things change. Like, a new item comes into the game and those items are really valuable. People want them. And so people will have money, and you'll see 3 of them sell in a row for 7 silver. And then next thing you know, nobody's buying them for 7 silver anymore. And that's because, as a general rule of thumb, everything in the game slowly depreciates in value. Most things
Really?
depreciate in value. Yeah, absolutely. The longer that 99 pickaxe, 99 COC pickaxe, 5 years ago was worth a hell of a lot more than the 99 COC pickaxe is. I mean, we weren't even
That's
paying
just
5 years
because
ago.
more people
when
are
we
entering the
said,
game.
right.
More
There's
items
more
are
people entering in the
game.
game. More items in the game. More people
More
having the
people.
skills able to make those items. You know, like, I remember when I first had my priest was able to cast like 90 stuff. Like, this was a bunch of years ago. So I would just collect everything that was above 90. I would just collect it on blank items, and then I would auction them off, starting the auction pretty low. Those auctions would go pretty high. Like, each item, people would spend upwards of 10 silver for a 99 cast, maybe even more. Nowadays, it's like 2 silver, and that's what they'll offer. It's like kind of ridiculous.
That's pretty
But
ridiculous. If you remember those days.
You have to have a feeling for this. You have to know kind of how the value of things change over time. There are some rare items whose value do go up over time. One example of this is Cyril.
And that's just
Cyril
because
is a
there's
weird
not
item
that
in
much
this game because you
entering
can't.
the game.
There's very, very little entering the game. And know exactly how it enters the game. I know that on Chaos, the Valkyrie. So Cyril is a medal that was originally awarded to people at the beginning of this system where they reward people for their premium time. What is that called?
Okay. The
LT reward program or whatever.
System.
This, yeah. So when this first thing was started, veteran reward system. So they first first thing they did was gave everybody some Cyril based on how long they've been in the game for. and some other things as well. There's transmutation rods were given as well. Um, and since that since that Cyril entered the game, there has been no more Cyril. Like you can't make it. I think Valray mobs drop a little, like rarely, and they drop like low quality. I think everybody got either 80 or 90 quality Cyril to start. So I don't think, I don't know, maybe somebody can help me out with this, but maybe the Valray mobs will depend on your butchering skill, but the stuff that I've seen come off, off the Valray mobs, not personally, but been told it's like all low quality stuff. So this stuff, it's used for making. It has two uses. One is anything made out of it, enchant on it without risk of any shattering. So it'll never shatter when you enchant on it. So you can have a pickaxe, let's say, a low quality pickaxe that you can cast on forever and it will never shatter.
Are you sure?
I can't be, but this is what I've been told.
All right.
Second reason why you would use it is for armor, because it makes the best plate armor.
I assume they actually. Cyril has entered the game other ways, other than the veteran rewards. I don't know. I feel like they probably reward it somewhat, just tiny amounts here and there.
Okay,
that's my guess.
Maybe the, what is it called? What was that raid where the mines were broken? The disintegrate spell fiasco, and somebody was reimbursed. I can't remember. There was, maybe. Somebody here is saying on Chaos, the Valray mobs are based off the random number generator. So yeah, maybe you can randomly get a 90 quality lump. But I have a feeling that it's based off your bring skill. I would only imagine. So anyway, very, very little is getting entered into the game. And so over time, because people are using this stuff, there's less of it. And so over time, its value will go up. I don't know. This is something that, I invested a little bit in it. Personally, I'd say it paid off. Because now Cyril is more money than it was back then. And it'll continue to go up.
So there you go. So you were actually successful
nowadays
buying and selling in the market.
But here's the thing. It would be very unwise to buy Cyril now at the prices they are now, unless you feel confident that they'll go up even further. There is a cap for a lot of these things. People would not spend as much money on a Cyril plate set than they would on, let's say, a dragon scale armor. Right? There's just no reason to. The dragon scale armor is far superior. And so there's going to be a cap on its value. So there's no...
Right.
You have to sort of understand the situation. Like, I'm not going to say go out there and buy a whole bunch of Cyril to invest in it right now, because its value right now is probably on the high end.
Anecdote.
Sorry?
You were just using it as an anecdote.
Right. The point is, if you want to make money this way, be on the lookout for these events that happen, because they happen over time. They happen for me. But if you keep your eye open, these events will present themselves, and you can jump on the opportunity to stock up on this stuff that's coming out right now, that people are like, what is this? I have no idea what it is. Oh, somebody will buy it for silver. Perfect. Here you go, 1 silver.
Or if you can capitalize
next thing you know,
If you can enter a
Yeah.
dev's mind
Next
and
thing you know,
capitalize on those items that are going
there
to
were
change
the
in the
thing is
future.
that nobody knew what Serral was at first. People were like, "Oh, great, I got Serral," and they sold it for like as little as 1 silver a lump, maybe even less, because they had no idea what it was. And I remember after maybe a couple weeks, people started seeing that, or it was revealed somehow that the shatter rate on it was low or
Mhm.
non-existent, and then people were like, "Oh, okay." And so started making pickaxes and hatchets and started casting on them. Okay, good. But it wasn't until many months later revealed to the general public that it made the best armor, and that's when the price went up.
Ah,
So this serum being exchanged, and people were experimenting with it. People wasted a ton of it just experimenting with it.
yeah, I bet.
And during that time, people were hoarding it. Like there were people who, I have no idea what it is, but if I buy a whole bunch of it, maybe it'll pay off later. And it paid off. So that's, you know, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, so
So be on the lookout
you're,
for new things.
yeah, if you're joining us right now, like Fish here, we are in the process of building a labyrinth, an in-game giant labyrinth, and right now we are just leveling off an area for the big castle that's going to appear at the very end. Oh, that's what we're doing. While we talk about ways to make money, because this is costing me a lot of money. Okay, so what else? So buying and selling.
Yeah. Oh, there's a couple other strategies for buy they have here. If you're interested in doing the buying and selling thing, focus locally, because local markets have far fluctuating market values than the global economy. So establish yourself in an area a lot of people. Like one area
So
that comes
you
to
want
mind
us
is
to be
New Spring
social
Island,
now?
because there's like yeah, no, well, if you're gonna be getting into the economy, any form, you gotta be social. You have to be interactive, because where are you gonna get that money from? You're gonna get it from other people, and the only way you're gonna get their money is by being. You have to be charismatic, at least somewhat. You have to be willing to negotiate and people. So you can't expect to just sit by the forge and expect the money to come in. That people will buy your stuff without you talking with them. You know who you are. They get to know who you are. That's the best situation, where they keep coming back to you because you were so nice to them and offered them good deals, and the way to go. So settle yourself in an area where there's lots of people.
Okay, so how would you relate
people
this when you say, I mean, local markets? I mean, you're
Local
mainly
market,
right
yeah.
now talking about Xanadu. How about if we were still on Delhi or a small server? What's
Right.
a local market?
Small server like Delhi, it's going to be a little bit harder. You're still going to have to I would still recommend finding an area where there's people. And specifically, you're going to be looking for people who are building and constructing their deeds, like their deeds aren't finished. Or places where there's people who are doing stuff.
Bustling area.
Constantly. Bustling area, exactly. And it's sort of go off the premise that one man's trash is another man's treasure. That you can offer to buy some stuff for not that much money, and and they'll accept it because it's just sitting in a bin. They have no plan to use it.
So you want
thing
us
I know
to
for
be
certain,
the worm versions of like Ferengis.
yeah, pretty much. If you are lucky enough to live next to and befriend a budding priest, just casting stuff,
Yeah.
they are going to have a ton of stuff that they can't really sell, like low cast items, 60, 50 casts, maybe 40 casts, like just tons of it. And then the priest will be aiming for 70, 80, 90 casts because that's what will sell easily. And they'll make stuff, and maybe they'll have a ton of leftover low cast stuff. Now, this low cast stuff, sure, is not going to sell for very much, but offer them a little bit of coin to take it off their hands. Go to a market that is active, put up a and price them cheaply, but enough to make a profit. So this is, you have that initial investment, but put up like a merchant and sell it over time. Like it's going to be a long-term investment because that stuff won't sell quickly, but it will. New players who they don't want to spend a silver for a tool. They want to spend 20 copper for a tool, or 15 copper, and they get 40 DLC on it or whatever, which is enough for them at the time.
That's not bad. I mean, both parties win when you're talking about the whole priest thing.
Both parties. Exactly. I probably let a lot of that stuff rot, to be honest. I didn't have that person who had that business mind.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sell it.
Okay, so quickly name a couple other ways. Or you're still over here.
I don't know. How are we for time?
It doesn't matter. Special events?
Yeah, okay. So special events, one that's happening monthly almost now, and that's the treasure hunt. If you're new to the game, like relatively new, participate in these treasure hunts because they are prizes pretty liberally, and they're pretty decent prizes too. Like maybe they won't make you a fortune, but they would make you some money. For sure, if you were to.
That's something I'd be down to. Like special events, doing treasure hunts, all those extra, fun things to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, and it's fun. Like,
so the rewards that you get, you can actually sell.
You could, yeah. You can sell them to other people, and they're not going to net you a ton of money. I don't even know what they are. I know they're pretty unique though. They're made out of. They're either like. No, I don't even want to go to speculate. But I've seen a couple of them. I can't even remember. But they're items. Like high quality items that are made out of weird metals, like that you normally like. You might have like. I'm like totally making this up, but this is kind of like the thing that they would have, like a 90 quality longsword made out of brass or something like that. Like that. And then there's some things that are valuable, like I think you can even win silver, and there's other thing, other events that would be really like, and this sort of thing doesn't really happen very often, but like for example the challenge events that happened, people made a boatload off of those masks. And they're just like lucky because I think going into the first challenge, a marble small chest, yeah, exactly. Like it's like a something, like a small chest, like a normal item in the game, but it's made out of something. It looks different, maybe, and sure, this marble small chest maybe not that useful, but somebody might be interested in buying it just to
integrate inside of a forge.
I would guess not, but I think that the better use of it would be to like place it at your bed, foot of your bed or something, to make it look.
Hold on, before you do that,
unique.
I think we're as wide as we want to go.
Like this distance? Are you sure?
No, like the distance we've already made. And these are just sort of little things that jut out here on the side.
Castle's only going to be 6 or 7 tiles wide.
That's 8. 2.
8. Okay, well, we only got 6 or 7.
We got 8. We got 8.
Yeah, so the challenge server was something that happened out of the blue. Nobody knew that was coming out, and it's just like the amount of money that people made off of the prizes there was obscene, obscene. And I still don't think we have masks in the game that we can
Do
make.
we not have masks in the game?
So those masks, I mean, that was one of the prizes. These different masks came out of the challenge server prizes, and they sold for like 100 silver each or something like that at first.
Wow.
It's like crazy, and they were really cool looking, really cool. Like I really want one, but I can't get them.
All right, so
yeah. So
maybe
yeah,
one day. One day.
special events. Keep your eye open for them. Like the Christmas event items. Make sure you go pick them up from the Christmas tree, from Santa, whatever, every Christmas. Those are types of items that increase in price over time.
That's true. Those gnomes.
Yeah.
Do people still like those gnomes?
The gnomes. Yep. You know what? I predict the Yulgo will be very popular in a couple of years' time from now. Because there are things that you can interact with. You know, you can really do something. They need more of that stuff in the game. You know, you right click it and it does something. What am I leveling? Are we leveling?
Just one more out
Outwards?
this way on these 2 tiles.
Okay. Now the last big one that I want to talk about is the whole, and somebody mentioned it earlier, and that's the rare issue, the rare items.
Rare items. I like rare items.
Yeah, everybody loves rare items. When they added that system to the game, I loved it. I thought it was very mysterious system that keeps you wanting more.
All I remember is that we were working on the first labyrinth that we were doing, and I would go out. We were mining, I think, at the time. Probably the underground mine from that first labyrinth, and all of a sudden, I was like, I heard this drum noise. It was like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my god, what was that? Something's attacking me.
Yeah.
And after I looked around and there was nothing attacking me.
Yeah.
We learned, I don't know, a while later that they just implemented some new system called the rare system, and we started learning all about this system. But it's been a lot of years since that has happened. We have not, and since then we have not made a fantastic item yet.
Yeah, Buddha.
Or have
there.
you?
Yeah, no.
Have you made a
No.
fantastic item? I
No.
have not.
Not a single fantastic.
Not even a fantastic shaft.
No.
Or rock shard.
No,
or
not a
anything.
fantastic.
Nothing.
No. Got a bunch of Supremes. Not even
That's
a single fantastic random crappy.
My one supreme
But
useful
rares-
item right here. A supreme large cart. That's it.
That's right. I did make a Supreme shovel. That was my one and only useful Supreme item. That's I'm lying.
Okay, so
I also
rares.
made a Supreme. Yeah, I also made a Supreme horseshoe.
Ooh,
Now,
I remember that.
when you rare item, yeah, I sold it for dirt cheap because at the time, it was very early in the whole Supreme rare thing, and the value of them quite known. So I think I sold that Supreme horseshoe for 5 silver because nobody was buying it. Nobody wanted it.
Hot Wheels. I think I'm gonna call it that.
What?
Hot Wheels.
Yeah, the Hot Wheels cart.
There we go.
Or-
So keep going, yeah.
I named it something. So if you're a new player, chances are you have made a rare item, whether it be like a rock brick or whatever. Um, they happen randomly. Now, it might pay off to sort of get a better understanding of how the system works, to increase your chances of getting rares.
Mm-hmm. I guess so.
More than likely, getting a rare brick or dirt or whatever, that's not going to make you any money. Nobody wants to buy those, really. I've seen a few people buy them, but they're really not. You're not really going to sell them.
I recommend just becoming a follower of a religion and just sacking it.
Sacrificing it.
And
Become a
just
follower of
sacrificing it in an altar.
sacrifice it for the 'cause it's worth more to you as a player than the 10 copper that somebody might pay you. But if you're lucky now, you will have made a rare item that's like useful. And when you do, as a new player, it's probably more useful to sell it for the silver than it is for you to keep it and use it. Like, rares have an abundance of benefits, but as a new player, you're probably able to make use of those benefits. Like, one of the benefits is that they hold their enchants longer. But as a new player, you probably don't have access to them, and you probably don't have the coin to pay for those enchants. They also reduce your action timers by 0.1 second, which as a new player does not seem like all that much.
0.1 second?
But as a veteran player, you're at 0.1 second, right? Like 0.1 seconds. But when your action timer seconds, that 0.1 seconds isn't really going to feel all that much.
Yeah.
But when you're high skilled and your timer is 2.8, that 0.1 does make a difference. Like, every 0.1 makes a difference at that point. So, like, again, like, as the rare items aren't really going to benefit you all that much, and it's probably better for you at that time to sell it to make the money, and use that money for getting a COC pickaxe or something like that, than it is to keep it.
Yeah, I remember when we were new players and we would get a rare. We would have rather had an enchanted tool than the rare. It's so much more beneficial.
Right. We sold nearly every rare that we made as newer players. Yeah.
And we get enough money to buy the enchanted COC weapon tools that allowed us to then increase our skills so that we could actually use rare tools later in our
and then
life.
At that point, you have the skills to make the money to buy the rares back, pretty much.
That's true.
So,
that makes sense. Well, okay, so let's say I wanted to make rares.
Right.
Isn't it just random?
I want to make rares.
It's just like random.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's this. Okay, so if you want to make rares, it's possible. A rare pickaxe, okay? Possible. Very long process. And there are people out there who spend all their time just rares. They're called the rare farmers. And this is why you see that guy selling 5 rares every week, and maybe even a supreme here and there. That's because they spend their time trying to get rares, and it's possible. It takes luck. It takes a good setup. But there's some concepts that you can sort of use to increase your chances. Maybe you don't want to farm them every single day, but you want to increase your chances at maybe getting a rare some point in time, and you don't want that rare to be a dirts every time. So one of the things that was released by the devs at the time that the system was about every hour you get a rare roll chance. But what they don't tell you is that when they say about, or on average, maybe they even said on average you get a rare chance, it's not going to happen every hour. It's going to happen so that, let's say you actually could go 4 hours with not a single rare chance, and then you can get 4 rare chances like in a row, literally, like not in a row, but within the next 10 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
So on average, you're going to get rare chances. Now, there's something called the rarity window that opens up, and I think the default is that it's 20 seconds long. And if you start and during that rare window, then you get a roll, a chance at getting a rare item out of that action. Chance is different for different items. So let's say you are lucky enough to start an action during that rare window that came up. If that action is an improving action, so you're imping something, the chance that you succeed will be about 20% to turn. So that's like a 1 in 5 chance. This is why you see so many people imping and they go, another rare roll and I didn't get it. That's because 20% is not all that good of a chance. It's not bad, but it's not good. Now, if the action that you're the creation action, so you are making the pickaxe by attaching the shaft to the head, or you're creating a horseshoe or something like that, you're creating, it's a 50% chance, which is far better. 1 in 2 that you're going to get a rare. And if the action is a harvesting action, so you are mining a rock shard, or you're chopping a tree, or you are what other things could you be digging or foraging, it's like a 100% chance. You'll notice you'll never fail a rare roll digging.
Okay, so 100% chance when you're gathering, a 50% chance when you're trying to make items, and a 20% chance when you're trying to imp items.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, those odds, you might as well be creating an item.
Right.
How about the chance of making a rare item by using rare resources?
I hear that it is an increased chance, but how it increases it, I have no idea. Like, for example, let's say you have a rare brick and a rare clay, and you go to combine them together to create a forge. From my observation, for some odd reason, I don't know why, you always get the rare drums, and you always get the message you have a moment of inspiration, but more likely than not, more than not, you won't get a rare forge out of that. Maybe I think the same goes for if you're like
chance, like 10%.
Maybe there's like I think even less than 10%. It would have to be really low, because I've done it so many times. Like, time that we had saved up a whole bunch of rare bricks, and then we were making a guard tower, and we wanted it to be rare. So we just spent all of the bricks and put in our tower, and every time that you put it in, you get a rare chance, like a rare roll. But I feel like that chance is super, super small, because I've seen it many times and you do not get it. Now, having said that, I once made a rare forge, but I saved 10 rare bricks, 11 rare bricks and 11 rare clay. I just saved them up because I wanted to figure this out. So I saved them all up, and I made a rare, made the rare bit, but it didn't turn rare until the last, until it was created. I kept putting in another brick and another brick, and it wasn't turning rare. I put another clay, turning rare, and then on the very last clay, it turned rare. And maybe it was because I was lucky on that last roll, or maybe it was because rares that I added in somehow build up or something. I don't know. There must be some mechanism that is
we'll never know.
Mysterious. Part of the things I love about this game is that Never know.
Oh well. Well, I guess the last thing. What do you want? You want to wrap it up for the rares?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that uh, I was chatting with this rare farmer, so a guy who spends a lot of his time just hunting for rares. Uh, and I was trying to, like, he had mentioned in one of his posts while he was selling something that, like, look out for my guide on the art of the rare, and he's gonna reveal his method for how he does it. So I was chatting with him about it, and like, I sort of have a sense of how rare farmers do it, but I just wanted to let you know, keep an eye open for this guide. He told me that it'll be released this weekend, so look for it. This
So look
guide
for a
might be
rare creation guide on the forums
yeah.
at
I
some
had
point
like
this weekend.
the guy was super nice. Like, such a great attitude about it. Like, he just he spent his time, like, it was almost like a scientific process for him. Like, he just figured it. He still, like, admits that he's not 100% sure how it works, but he does this, and it gets him the results, and he just wants to share it with
Or
everybody
maybe the
because
guide
he's
is
like,
up
everybody,
already.
like, everybody should just make their own rares. Like, that's the way it should be. But the sad is, I feel that um I feel that
The guide
something's gonna
is up
change.
already.
Okay, the guy's up. I'm gonna go read that right after the show. But I feel that we're getting into some, like, uh what's the word, a gray area, where if all of a sudden everybody had the ability to make rares on demand, something's going to change. Like, the devs are going to look at that and go, well, that's not exactly intended. And
It might
obviously they want to
change. Who
make
knows?
rares more rare. They might
Yeah.
change something.
You never know.
So I'm afraid of.
Maybe it'll be for the better. You never know.
Right. And maybe for a better. And this is the type of change where there's opportunity to make money out of, right? Like, you have to be, if you look at these sort of changes as opportunities, that's the type of mindset that you need in order to become wealthy in this game.
All right. So, wrapping it up, basically what you said. We've talked about how do you make money in this game, and the difference is that the way that I've interpreted what you said is that there's a lot of ways to make money in this game. You've listed some of them. You've listed bulk goods. You've listed trade skills and becoming a priest and buying and selling and making rares and all these different ways. But the bottom line is that you have to like what you do in order to be successful at making, in-game money in this game. So,
And more importantly, you have to like the game itself.
you have to like the game itself.
Yeah.
So my advice would always be, don't ask yourself, how do I make money in this game? And then go pick a way to make money. First, pick a way that you like to play this game, and then ask yourself, how do I make money doing this?
Right.
That's my suggestion. And what do I like doing? I like building giant castles. And that's what I'm going to do right now. We've leveled off an area, and I'm going to plan this giant building. Let's see what it's going to look like here. Plan this building out here. How big of a building can I make? I don't know. Let's go level 2. What do you think? I planned this out sort of to be 2 buildings, and I'm going to connect them through some bridges. I'm going to make it seem like one. It's not going to be as gigantic as, let's say, the building we made at Autumn Twilight, which was 7 buildings in one. That was a beast. I'm not sure I really want to do that.
Mm-hmm. And each of those buildings needed more than 90 carpentry to plan, eh?
Yeah, it was quite large.
Yeah, 7 buildings. That was kind of crazy.
I don't think I want to do that again.
But see, 7 buildings. That was the entire labyrinth, just the 7 buildings. Whereas here we have a bunch of other space and more buildings as well. Are you sure that this is this place here? This is okay? I don't know. I don't think we went far. Maybe we did. I don't know. Half of it? Yeah.
Oh, I feel like we did okay.
You know, while you do that, I want to say one last thing about this whole money making thing. And I think, like, I told a couple of people that this show money making, and they looked at me kind of strange. Like, they're like, why would you tell everybody how to make money? Wouldn't that reduce you making money?
I got to the end. This is one building.
Yeah. And they, like, on one sense, it sort of seems to make sense, that way of thinking. Like, if you reveal your secrets, wouldn't that reduce your chances at making money? And I felt the same way a long time ago about traders, when somebody revealed to other people how traders worked. And I felt like by doing that, you're going to reduce the amount of money that you're going to make from traders. The more people who have traders, the less money each trader gets. But I sort of started thinking about the economy in this game a lot differently. I think it's a little bit more accurate that the more money that's in people's hands, the better off the economy is. That the wealth is spread, the better off the economy will be. And that's because people will have money to buy things and barter for things and trade for things. The money will shift hands more frequently and to a wider audience. What you don't want is to have the new players feel hampered and not able to get into the market, because then they're going to leave the game or just not enter the market at all. The ideal situation is where you as many people as you possibly can who are in the market, because then you'll have that many more people spending money and making money, and ultimately everybody benefits from that situation. So
well said. And with that, now can you picture the castle in the distance? Oh, Adam's useless. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining this week. And last I want to say is that we are trying to get, should we say this? We're trying to get maybe somebody from the game to be on the show at some point. Maybe one of the volunteer devs, maybe one of the, I don't know, who knows. But if you do want, let's say we do get somebody on the show, leave your questions. Send us any questions, and we will pick them, and we will have an entire segment of just questions to ask them from the audience.
Interview with Dev, yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'll take a look. Anyway, just leave a comment below, and we'll try to get to talking to you guys in the comments. And have a good week, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you guys next week on the Factional Fight. Plays Wurm Online. Take care, everyone.